And we back, y'all. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I'm here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. And it really ain't gonna happen, y'all. I am so sorry for the technical difficulties, but we are back and live here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Welcome. Apologize for the delays. StreamYard is tripping and my internet wanted to start tripping, y'all. Subscribe to Mrs. Best's channel. I will add her link in my description box when I'm done with this video because I had to jump on my phone. So sorry about that, but welcome. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to both channels. Any recaps reviews that I don't do on my channel, we do on Mrs. Best's channel, such as Love and Hip Hop Miami and also
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am also on the phone, so I'm hoping you guys can hear us well.
yes, we say hell or high water. We come, y'all, regardless. We gonna find a way. Trust me, y'all. We gonna find a way. So as I am waiting for my computer to reboot and everything, let's get into this episode. So if you guys were in the last live, which is now deleted, I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't gonna keep that on my YouTube channel. But if you were here for the last live, we were talking about Martell and Marceau, and the episode ended up leaving off where we were with them accusing each other of cheating, infidelity. Martell went to his truck to go get his phone and then said he got receipts. And Tisha's like, let me see this receipts, Martell. Let me see him. And he said, Tisha, you don't want to see the receipts. You don't want to see him. And they're going back and forth talking about he slept with him, he slept with this person, Tisha slept with that person. They were like, he was like, Martell, like nothing of that happened. And Marcel said, you were ugly back then, you were fat, you were not this size, everything. And it was like, wow, Marcel, like, geez, Louise, you would have thought they slept together. Like, I just was like, what is going on here? It was just very, just the energy that they were giving was weird. And I was just like, Destiny, you started all this mess with the messy ass questions, knowing them two was gonna probably get into it. This was all I blame Destiny for this. And while she was sitting there trying to make an exit because she said, I'm tired of y'all fighting, and I'm tired of all this. Like, it's not even fair. And I'm just looking at her like, none of this would have happened had you not asked them questions. Everybody was, playing the games, participating, and you chose to be messy. So this is the result of what you get. So I don't feel bad for Destiny, not in the slightest. Mrs. Bessie, you feel bad for Destiny?
Absolutely not. Apologies for my background, y'all. I am cooking if you hear loud noise, but absolutely not. Number one, trick, how you leave your own event. Number two, you started the mess at your event, which made no sense. You're supposed to be having a field day. I want to see y'all on the field having fun, not working out problems and talking crap. The other thing that was weird for me, it was like locker room talk outside of the locker room between Martell and Marceau. Like, it's too much. They both, I don't know. I get Marceau, like Martell is not the best friend, but then at the same time, birds of a feather flock together. To me, Marceau sucks. Martell sucks. So y'all arguing over who sucks more. That's how I viewed it. But it was very strange that Marceau did not interrupt to like stop him from talking about his wife. Like if that was any moment to smack somebody on camera, we would have accepted it. So I don't know. Both of them are dumb jocks to me.
I just feel like for me watching that, I agree with you. He definitely should. He should, especially so Martella's bringing up stuff that happened in their college years and things that don't even make anything relevant today. Because I don't care who Tisha slept with in college. I don't care about. I want to know what will be happening now. What's happening today, Martell? What can you tell us that he did within the last? I don't. What do you have there? Why you didn't show the receipts when Tisha asked for them? If you have them, it's just so strange. Like this whole situation was really strange, and it made me look at Martell differently. I don't know if you like, as I said when we before we got cut off, he likes blind loyalty. He really does. He wants to be loyal to him, regardless if he's right or wrong or indifferent. And as I sat here and thought about it, I feel like that's probably his mama's doing. I really do. I feel like I can blame because to me, she validated him regardless if he was right or wrong in the situation when him and Melody divorced. So I kind of feel like that's probably a stigma he's always went by. And no one's really ever corrected it. Because for you to think that someone should have loyalty to you based on what you put out there about your ex-wife and the revenge, P, and also the allegations of, harassing communications that you were found guilty of, it's kind of like, why would somebody have your back when you're causing harm? I don't get that. I don't understand that. And the fact that you're angry because he did an interview and expressed how he felt, regardless if you didn't agree, it's like, sir, he's supposed to say, regardless of a situation, how he feels, even if it doesn't agree with what you feel. Martell is just strange. Like, I don't know. Like, I felt like I was looking at two men that used to go together, just fight and argue and mad because they found somebody else. That's how I felt. I really did. That's my whole interpretation of that
Martell
scene.
to me, as somebody, I don't know, as someone, I'm in graduate school to do counseling and go further with clinical psychology and all of that. Everything about Martell, in my opinion, screams narcissist. Like, there's so much wrong with him. It's so obvious. It's right in his face, our face, and he can go back to watch the camera, but he refuses to admit that, and he views himself as some like as a victim all the time. So he's like a sociopathic narcissist, in my opinion. But so is Marceau to a certain extent. But what this told me, this interaction, is that Tisha ain't shit, Marceau ain't shit, and Martell ain't shit. Because Tisha, why was you messing around with so many men in college that people can talk about it to this extent? Why, Marceau, are you not defending your wife, regardless on how it was? And Martell, why are you bringing up someone who was your friend's wife? I feel like Martell and Tisha may have had something at some point way before she dated Marceau or something. Because why else would Martell care?
You think they had something? Like, I don't care. Look, I'm not clocking Tisha's mileage.
There was a quick comment. It was so quick about. It sounded like they were surprised Marceau was able to get Tisha, and like Martell like may have did him the favor to let him or something. Because I'm like, that's the only thing that could make sense between these two. None of it makes sense.
Mm, that is interesting. I heard that comment, and then I heard that they slept with a girl at the same time, like Martell did, and then he went and let Marceau get a turn. It was kind of like, are y'all really saying this on camera right now? Whoever the young lady is, we are so sorry that you have to have, your business exploited, even though they didn't say your name. We're sorry to get that, whoever you are. But Kimmy wasn't having it. Kimmy was telling Marcel, she was like, you're letting Tisha catch straight bullets for this stuff by not shutting it down. I understood what she was saying, and I agree with her to some extent. But at the same time, you can't control no grown man, especially one that is emotionally just outraged and out of control. I felt like with Kimmy, I felt like she was putting too much responsibility on Marcel, because I guess the best thing that they could have did was get up and walk away personally. But at the same time, would that have solved him, or would have stopped Martell from talking? That's what you're gonna have to ask yourself. Is that really gonna stop him from talking? No. I feel like he was still gonna carry on. In some way, this was still going to make its way on camera. So, but I did feel like, yes, Martell went too far. He should have never mentioned Tisha, should have never mentioned her past or what she did, because at the end of the day, she's married to this man. So, what does that matter anymore? So, I don't know. The whole, hey, Shawnee, thank you for joining us, love. We appreciate you being here this Sunday. But yeah, it was just really weird. I just felt like that whole conversation was strange. And they were trying to show us this segment of Lance and Destiny, and I don't buy it. If they are doing something, it's for maintenance purposes only. It's not anything I feel is serious. So that was it on that. Was there anything else you want to add to this thing, Mrs. Best, before we move on?
No, sir.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. Tisha is looking at wedding bands because Marceau no longer wears wedding band. This was something that they brought up last season. So he doesn't wear a wedding band. Tisha wants him to start wearing one. So he gets there because they show up separately from each other. And they were talking about, why he doesn't wear, the wedding band, but he'll wear this watch or whatever. And And she asked him flat out, "What does a wedding band mean to you?" And he goes, "Well, it's just a form of obedience." And I'm looking like, "Wait, what? It's a form of obedience?" Now,
Number one, that pissed me off because your wedding band does represent. It's supposed to. For when I got married, what they explained to me, the person who married us was like, a circle never ends, and the love is not supposed to end. So it's supposed to represent that. Technically, that's what it's for. But separate from that, it's a way to let the rest of the world know I have found my person. I'm unavailable, so leave me the hell alone. Now, people will still, you know, do what they do, but that's really strange that one married person is wearing the ring and not the other one, and then he gonna openly complain. I just can't.
yeah, I agree with you. It was like, sir, you just want to just show your ass every time you on this camera. Like, I was rooting for Marcel for a little bit, and this is where he kind of made me take a little slight pause. But then Tisha also opens up to him about the situation with Martell and how, she's really getting tired and drained of all of these allegations. These are really taking, a mental hold on her. And he's pretty much giving her the, Martell and not Martell, Marcel and Maurice love to talk in circles and confuse the hell out of you. And, by that time, you've been a lost interest in the conversation. So it makes it look like they won. So that's what he was doing in this instance. He goes, you can't do that. You can't respond to every little thing that someone says about you, and you can't let anyone get to you this way, Tisha. You have to be stronger than that and everything. You have the power of doing what is almighty in you. It's basically what he was talking about. And I'm all like, yeah, get to the point. Because I'd have been like, look, did you do it or did you not? Did he have something or did he not? That's all she had to ask. And what they were also going forward to telling us is that they had a rough patch, especially within this last year, where there was a conversation of separation. I'm not surprised by that because I've alleged, I don't think that they're currently like in their marriage. I think at this point that we're seeing, they probably have agreed to, come back to each other and be with each other. I didn't think that they were together. I thought they were separated. I really did. And based on this scene, even though I'm gonna say allegedly, I still felt like that. Mrs. Best, do you feel like that's what that conversation was telling you?
I'm sorry, the conversation between Tisha and Marceau.
Yeah, did you feel like they were separated? Like, do you feel like that conversation where she was talking about how they talked about, they weren't on the same page and they had a rough year and that they even had conversations of not being together? Do you think that that was a form to say that they probably were separated?
These people are separated. They don't arrive anywhere together. How do you arrive to the jewelry store as a married couple separately? Bump that. When it comes to a jewelry store, husband's in the car, I'm in the car, we going together. But they haven't arrived anywhere together since I've been doing these recaps with you on this show. There's obvious that there's issues in the marriage. I think that it's on both ends. I do believe Martell about the rumors and the things and the accusations he makes against Marcel for cheating. I think that's a piece of it. But at the same time, I don't think Tisha's innocent as well. And I also feel like her being difficult in terms of hearing feedback about herself is probably frustrating for Marceau. So I don't think that these people are together. They give me the people that will stay together for the kids.
And something else that he said, yes, I knew I wasn't Kevin Reynolds. I knew I wasn't like they I felt that really was. I mean, of course, they can, gaslight it with it being for the home renovation, which they did do a home renovation, but that was just mildly convenient to me in my eyes. But I agree. And something else that he said in that conversation, because I know a guy like this, where they're putting in time as some sort of amount accomplishment because out of all of his brothers and sisters, he has the longest standing marriage. And so that's a flex to anybody. So to me, that's his ego. I feel like that's one reason why they haven't divorced is because it's a flex of his ego. He can always pinpoint, well, I've had the longest standing marriage out of everybody here when it comes to their family because, the Scots, no matter what they say, are secretly in competition with each other. I can kind of see that. So that makes
Oh
me feel like
yeah,
that was another reason too.
yeah, probably. But they're clearly separated. But they can go. Y'all know I don't like Tisha anyway, but they can go the hell up off this show. If she's not going to talk about Kiki's passing, which by the time that certain stuff was filmed and Maurice had his DUI, she had passed away. God rest her soul. If she's not going to talk about that, if she's not going to keep it real about her separation, if she's going to continue to BS and play victim, if he's going to act like suddenly he's the man of all men when he ain't shit, just like Martell, I don't care for these people on the show. The Scotts can all go. Kimmy, Marceau, Maurice, Tisha, they can all go and take their kids with them. I'm cool. I don't need to see them on TV. They're not going to show us what we want to see.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because I don't remember that. I do remember they got a separate home, and I do remember the girls was in one, and then she had a room for the son and everything. And when Kimmy came over, she was like, "Yeah, it's still a 3 and a 2." But I was like, "Okay, that was giving separated right there." But I don't. They're they do things quietly, business or tea. We'll never they move around silence and such. They're sneaky about it, and I'm just like, just show your real shit. If you're separated, you're separated. What's the big deal? So we're gonna move on from there. Um, Melody and Tisha meet up for lunch, and Melody wants to check in. She's gonna make a round to all of the ladies that were on the trip. So she said Tisha was now, and she's met up with Kimmy. So and they're talking about the trip and everything. And Tisha said, "I was really happy to get back here because that trip was a lot." And Melody's like, "Really, it was?" And she said, "Yeah, it was too much." And so Melody makes it a point to talk about Maurice and this whole DUI thing, and she goes like, "What happened? Like, what was he doing? Was it really in the midday?" And Tisha was like, "You know what? I don't know what happened, but I just thank God that he didn't hurt himself or didn't hurt anyone." And that struck a chord with Melody. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm happy you said that," because how social media was hyping it up. They were talking about free Reese and everything like that. So the fact that you said that makes me feel a lot better because maybe not all of you think, "Oh, well, he was some victim in this." And I agree with Melody. I'm glad that Tisha said that too. And Tisha kind of took it as, "Oh, Mel, stop it. Like, that's not what it is," and everything. And it was like, no, it is exactly that. And she was all like, "Yeah, I lost my grandmother to a drunk driver. So, I take those things very serious." And then Melody talks about the mugshot. She goes like, "What was he doing? And did you notice he had lipstick on his lips?" And she said, "He ain't had no lipstick on his lips." And Melody said, "Yes, he did, Tisha. It was right there." And so Tisha pulls up the mugshot with some pink lips. And Mel said, "Tisha, stop playing with me. You know there ain't no pink lips. Like, that looked like lipstick." And she was pointing at the picture. She said, "Tisha, that don't look like lipstick." She said, "No, it looked like pink lips." And Mel said, "Pink what?" And she said, "Tisha, stop, stop, stop." And Tisha was just shut it down. She's like, "Look, I don't want to talk. Like, I'm sure that see, I'm gonna have to look at the picture again because I noticed it too. It was like in the middle of his lips, like in the middle, like directly in the middle. Like, I saw that too. So now I'm gonna relook at it and I'm gonna blow it up to see if I can really notice it as well. Because I did notice that. Mrs. Best, how do you feel about that?
Mm. I mean, the boy is clear as hell. It's not hard to see, but
Right.
the Scots are clearly sticking together, and them not wanting to talk about this DUI, not even at all, put them off the show.
I agree. Because it's like, okay, we ain't gonna just, state the obvious. And then he was seen the next day at a black with a bottle in his hand. That was on social media. So this comment right here. Absolutely. This comment right here, because she's staying loyal to the family. Now, I guess she didn't want to throw Maurice under the bus. I totally get that. I'm not mad at her that she didn't do that. But at the same time, there's a way to really handle that situation without you stepping on anybody's toes. And he said pretty much a beige dude with lipstick. You know, I don't put it past any of them to be faithful to their wives. I don't put it past any of them. That includes Chris Fletcher, and that includes Kim. I don't put it past any, well, more so Trisha, but I don't put that past any of them. I really don't, because I feel like y'all gonna have ample opportunity. Y'all are on TV. Ladies are looking for you. Ladies and gentlemen are looking for you. So I don't, shout out to Dr. Simone. I don't put that past any of them. I don't. Like I said, I have to say that because, all of them have been married for quite some time. But I'm sorry, I don't put it past any of them. I don't. So, um, you know, Tisha's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go and Mel make this loud ass in front of everybody talking about she ain't paid the bill. And I would have been mad at Tisha too. But like, bring your ass back here and pay this bill. I don't know what you think this is. Like that part kind of made me mad. I feel like, no, you're not. You're not gonna put this out on me. But that was a little cute, little fun scene. Was there anything you want to add, Mrs. Best, before I move on?
No, sir. You're doing great.
All right. I'm glad this is holding up, y'all. We almost gonna get through it, y'all, before the internet act up even more. So the next thing we have a split scene. So Destiny meets with Martell. And you know what? Honestly, I feel like I don't see it with Martell, not Martell. I don't see it with Marcel and Tisha, but I definitely could sense it with Kimmy and Maurice. Because I told y'all, Maurice remind me of like a closeted pastor. That's what he reminds me of. It's like he gives like subliminal little hints, and then and it kind of goes over your head because you'll think he's joking. But I picked up on, I will never forget. I don't know if it was season 2 or season 3 where they were at an event. Martell and Melody weren't quite broken up yet, but Martell had his shirt kind of split open. He said, "Oh, I see you with your little shirt split down the middle," and kind of and kept staring at it. And I was like, "That's different." Okay. And a lot of people were like, "Nah, he's just, just being funny." I'm like, those are usually how that happens, being funny. Like that turns into something serious. And y'all already know how I feel about Martell. So I mean, I feel like this. I definitely feel like there's something more extra, especially with this hypersexualized, lifestyle that Maurice likes to give on this show. I could definitely believe it. But Destiny Martell means she's basically just checking in with him, and she pretty much told him flat out at the beginning of the conversation, "You owe Tisha an apology because you did not need to out her." And Martell was all like, "Look, it is what it is. She don't want to believe all the stuff that he did. And I'm sorry I had to throw her under the bus, but that's what it is." And I'm looking at him like, oh God, get him off my screen. But at the same time, we're having this conversation. Chris Fletcher goes to see Marceau at the rental property, or not rental property, at the property they're building that's, kind of doing gentrification in the neighborhood. And Chris Fletcher is very impressed. And he says he actually is opening up a farm nearby. So when it comes time for selling, probably he'll be the one to sell it if that's the case. And then they talk about, the whole situation with Martell, and Marcel was all like, "Look, I don't have no respect for Martell. He always wants to, throw people's wives in the mix. I remember when he called your wife a side chick and you weren't cool with that. He's always throwing these subliminals at me and everything. And I'm tired of, bait and falling for that bait and everything. And I don't blame Marcel at this point. I kind of see exactly what he's talking about. Even Chris sees it too. But for some reason, they want to be loyal. And I feel like it's because Martell probably does have something on all of them, but we're not going to know what it is because he's probably never going to put it out. Like he said, he's a man, so he's not going to do that. FYI, Wanda is to live where she will mention Martell goes both ways. I remember Coleslaw has said the same thing as well. I've said it on my channel many times. Martell really reminds me of men that are running from homosexuality. I have said this many times, and I'm going to say allegedly to protect myself because I know how he get down. But no, I said that, and he gives me that kind of energy. He gives just the way, y'all have to understand, as a Black man that, was raised around misogyny, was raised around toxic masculinity, it is very, Martell examines like that behavior where he listened to the toxic uncle that told him, "You can't be like that. All you need you is a woman. And, if it don't work, you just ain't found the right woman. And so you just got to keep going through them until the right one, because then can't no man give you what a woman can." That's the conversations we all hear. It's always been said that exact same way. And I feel like with Martell, He listened because those uncles are impressionable to us. So we want to impress them as well. So that's kind of how I feel about Marcel. That's what I see. And I feel like we live in a time in society where that shouldn't even matter no more, but it still doesn't. It's unfortunate. But that's how I feel. I really do. He reminds me of a lot of men who I have seen struggle with that because they don't want to be it because they're scared of what people are going to think of them. And it's very sad because you would think as time goes on that should even matter anymore. But it still does and probably always will. But moving on from there, you know, Destiny was all like, well, you really were upset about Marcel doing that interview. He goes, yeah, because he knows I didn't do this. Like, there's no communication, there's no judgment, no nothing. And I said, Marcel, okay, okay, Marcel, fine. We just not gonna just get over the fact that it's all over. There's court documents that say that you were guilty, but okay, if that's what you want to say, then okay. So, you know, Martell said that there's a lot more that he could have said. Martell knows, he said even Melody knows that the truth. And what they were talking about was the hairdresser that Marceau and Tisha went on live with to dispel the rumors that were put out there that she was Marceau's alleged side chick. And Martell said that Tisha was trying to teach him how to teach her how to respectfully cheat. That's why they were coaching her on that live. And to some degree, Tisha was coached. I feel like she was coached because she immediately denied after coming out saying that she was, but then she immediately retracted it and was on live with them. So I somewhat believe that. But when he said that, when Destiny asked the question, so Melody and Tisha are teaching side chicks how to respectfully cheat, and he said dead ass, and was like, "Yep, absolutely." And I was like, "See, that's where Destiny got that shit from." I feel like they were having a conversation about this, and Destiny brought that up on that trip. And I said that I felt like she got that from Martell. I said that, and this right here kind of proved that because then she says, I don't know if I believe that, Martell. But then why would you say it on the trip with the ladies if that's something that you didn't believe? That's how I know that that came from Martell. And I think Melody knew it came from him too. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about that?
So sorry, y'all. I am cooking. I don't know. This casket's on my nerves. It's foolish of Destiny to even think that Martell is her friend, number one. Number two, I do believe him, though, about that. I don't think it's teaching anyone how to cheat. That just sounds like a statement that comes from a man. But yeah, I don't know. Destiny, this whole scene made me just, I don't like Destiny. I don't like Martell. They can go too. I'll leave it there.
She has spoken, y'all. So yeah, it was, as I said, it was a real cheap shot to take. But okay, you can bring up that one situation that has been dead and buried. What else do you have, Martell? That's what we want. We want you to put the receipts out because, like Maurice said in his confessional, I don't believe you have receipts. I don't believe you have anything at this point because you would have been put it out there. And I believe that. I believe he would have been put that out there because he don't want his stuff out there. So he go, anybody can get it. That's how he moved. So the next thing and the last thing we're going to talk about, y'all, which was my favorite part of this entire episode. Melody meets with Trisha. And, she says she doesn't really know Trisha. So she, wanted to, give her a chance. And, after she left the trip early, she had like kind of this pause on Trish. So she's meeting up with Trish. They meet up at some little cute little coffee and restaurant bar. And Trisha opens up the conversation that, she wanted to tell Melody bye and thank her for inviting her for the trip, but so much was going on and it was awkward on the trip a little bit when it came to everyone questioning her. And Mel said, because you kind of make it awkward. And Trisha was kind of taken back, like, wait, what? I make it awkward? Mel's like, yeah, like when it came down to your friends calling you out about you mentioning information and then keeping information when it came to what you were doing when it was with Marcel. And then they flashed back when Stormy asked her or told her that when they questioned her at first, she said she didn't go to Martell's house. And then now she's saying she is. And so Melody turns it up a notch, which I'm so glad she did it. Oh, and I lived for every moment of this. She said, so when did you train Martell? And Trish said it was in 2020. She goes, oh, really? What month? And Trish was like, I don't know. That's a good question. I said, strike one. She goes, oh, okay, well, what was the house? What house was it? And she said, it was in the mountains. It was in the mountains. She goes, it was in the mountains? Okay. So which house in the mountains? Uh, 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 I don't know. I don't know. Um, she goes, okay. How was the driveway? Maybe we could try the driveway. Oh, it was just a normal driveway. And Mel said, no, it wasn't because the driveways over there, it's a lot. It's a lot on the mountain. So couldn't have been a normal driveway. She goes, okay, well then, what color was the house? Uh, um, you know, it was white. It was a white house. Melody said, okay, we didn't have a white house. We had a light house. Like, it was lighter than average color. She goes, okay, that's the one. She said, okay, so Melody gives Trish a rundown. She goes, okay, so I left the house in April, but I did return back to it to film a movie. And then I was out of it by the fall. And she said, the fall, that's when it was, because, it was chilly outside. And Mel said, I don't know, because Martell was out of that house in August. Trish was like, well, I know it was chilly outside. Melody said no, because Martell would have been out of that house by August. So you would have had to have been in that house between April and August. And Trish was like, I don't know. It was just very chilly outside. And I mean, just silly. I was like, girl, if you don't cut that shit out, something else was, oh man. And she was and Melody was like, well, maybe you were at a different house. Maybe that's really what it was. And Melody did that to say, okay, well, and what Melody said in her confession was so profound. It's like, Trish is kind of doing this to herself because she could just be honest. I think she doesn't want to be honest because she doesn't want whatever happened between them two to come out. And keep in mind, the stuff that happened between Latricia and Martell, she made it awkward. She did it. When they first were introduced on camera, she felt slighted because he didn't recognize her and he introduced himself to her. She blew her cover, not Martell. So that's why we all feel like there was more to this story. So Melody kind of does continue a little bit further. She asked him, so was there any conversation about this before I invited you onto the trip? And Trish was confused once again. She goes, what do you mean? She goes, okay, so you knew that I invited you on this trip and you knew all of this conversation was going around about Martell. You didn't think to say, hey, Mel, or reach out to me after you accepted the invitation to say, hey, I don't want you to hear this from no third party. There was, things going around about me and Martell. And I just want to let you know it was, all me just training him in fitness. But keep in mind, when we first met Trisha, she said she didn't train men. So y'all keep that in mind. Those were her words exactly. So Melody was like, okay, well, I just want to let you know that, in front asked her a question and they left it on the cliffhanger. I can't think of the question right now in my mind, just like that. But I'm gonna say this. I was here for Melody. I know a lot of people don't like Melody. I get it. I understand. But I loved her in this scene. Just because Trish could not lie her way around it. Melody was interrogating her like as if Trish was already guilty and wanted. Like she was going to be booked and go to jail that same day. It was hilarious. Mrs. Best, how did you feel between that interrogation with Melody and Latricia?
I was glad Melody asked all the questions I think everybody's been wondering about. So I was glad that she did that. However, Latricia, how the hell you can remember that it's cold, but you can't remember what the driveway looked like? Like, I'm not going to get all nerd on y'all, but if you talk to anybody who studied the brain, how memory works, long term, short term, working memory, all of those things, nothing that Trisha could remember made sense. And the things that she did not remember, she should have been able to remember. Trisha's full of shit. So I was glad that Melody asked. I was just kind of like, why are you asking, Mel? Because he's your ex. Why do you care? Trish is weird too, but it was mostly for me just entertainment. I feel like somebody else should have been asking the questions to Trish, but I also get the feeling that with Stormy's random departure in the middle of the season, that it probably that's probably who would have asked the questions or who they wanted to ask. But it's just a weird situation. Um, Trish is a liar. I think that that's clear, but she hasn't really done anything to anybody in the group that would be like shady. Most of the stuff that goes on with Trish, like the stuff with Ken and her ex-husband or her current husband, should I say, or like lying about the situation with Martell acting weird. It just shows me and confirms to me that she is a liar. But I'm like, Melody, why do you care at the same time? But thank you for producing the show that you created and asking the questions that you know that the fans would want to ask versus running away like Letitia or like Tisha did when having to discuss a DUI or anything like that. But Trish needs to learn, if you're going to be on TV, you better get really good at lying, really good at being shady, or you better learn to be quick witted, be able to answer stuff quickly, or just tell the truth. That way you don't got to keep up with your lies. Trish gets on my nerves. Something is wrong with her.
She gets on mine too. And that's why I enjoyed this scene, very much. Um, Mel mainly asked because Trisha was on Mel's girls trip without even knowing her initially. I don't think that's why she asked her that. I think Melody knows something that she's not trying to put on camera that she probably hoped Trish would have confessed to. I feel like what Melody was trying to get to, because I think Melody knew initially that she was at the house, but she was trying to open up the floor to see if this girl would confess something. I don't believe for a second that Melody did not know about this lady and at this situation. Now, I think she didn't know it was her, but I think she knew it was somebody. I don't think she just think that
Trish
Coleslaw was
was
the only one.
probably Trish was probably one of many women that Martell had running through one of their old marital homes so soon after they divorced. That's what I think happened.
I agree because it was just the way that she was asking the questions, and it was the way like it was. They were so specific. It reminds me of like the wife confronting the side chick, knowing that she's a side chick, but the side chick ain't confessing to sleeping with her husband. That's what it was giving me. That I just honestly, that's how I felt because it was like Trish couldn't answer one question. She was stuttering. She was all over the place. And she said it was what got me out of this whole thing is she said it was chilly outside and it's the summertime, basically from April to August when she would have been there. And then she asked her, oh, the question she asked her, well, did you know Ken then? And she goes, no, he came much later. But keep in mind, the dinner that they had that Ken and Latricia were invited to, they said that they were talking around 2016, 2017. Do you see, like this lady, I can't with this lady, y'all. I'm trying like every time. Trish be so full of shit, y'all. That's why I said I lived for this scene. I lived for it all, and I can't wait to see the continuation. And then when Marquez gets back here, Melody's at whatever they event that Trish had. I can't wait to see that scene because I said somebody got Marquez's back, and I'm like, yes, finally. Because Trish do too much, y'all. I'm telling you, she was a horrible casting choice for this show. I'm just saying she just was. I mean, she probably is good because we're all talking about her saying, how dishonest she is. So maybe this was a brilliant move on Carlos's part. But for me, I don't want her to come back next season. I really don't. I think she needs to make this her last season. I think she has dug a grave with her tongue. There's no way to redeem her back from this. Because now, if we didn't believe that she did something more with Martell before, we believe it now because she can't give a solid answer. She can't give a solid answer to when she trained them, but mind you, she told Stormy she doesn't normally train men. And then also she told Melody in the same conversation that she really didn't know Martell. She knew of Martell because she went to school with his brother. Now she's maintaining that story, but why would you go to someone's house that you don't really know to train them? So, and then why would you get mad about it when he saw and when he slid at you?
I understand her going to someone's house that she does not know to train her. We have to remember this happened in 2020. Gyms were not open yet. Everything has shut down. We have to remember COVID, you know what? So I do think that she had to go to the house to train him. But the part that is making me a little bothered with this show, and y'all know I'm only here for James. I am not a big Love and Marriage Huntsville fan at all because it feels like a Tyler Perry reality show or something. But personally, it's giving that this show has nothing to give anymore. They don't want to change the cast, and so they added this new lady that's connected. Because outside of Stormy, right? Trish came on as Stormy's friend, and then Stormy just left the show, right? Why would you bring your friend on the show that you're not happy with because you already had this situation going on with whatever happened with the millimeter that she claimed caused her to get into jail? Something's not adding up. I feel like producers overproduced this situation because if Trish did sleep with Martell, who the fuck cares? He was divorced, she was separated, who would care? So it's kind of like the show has us going in circles and discussing and watching stuff. And I understand a part of it is supposed to be for entertainment. But at the core of it, if these people did do something together, who the fuck cares? Because they were both in spaces where they are able to. I care more so about what's going on with Trish, her kids, that husband, and Ken. But it's almost like they keep having to bring Martell into it. And it's like, at this point, Martell will sleep with a statue. He'll sleep with the red light, the stop sign, it don't matter. He gonna sleep with whoever. But I just, I don't know. It's just a weird situation. The whole girls trip itself was weird. I'm tired of them talking about it. If you take away Trish and the drama with Martell and all the legal issues that this cast is having, there is no show, in my personal opinion. I'm not trying to be mean to the, diehard Love and Marriage Huntsville fans because I'm not a fan of this show. But in my opinion, they have us talking about shit that's so small. And even if it is or isn't true, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't impact anybody. He needs to really reevaluate this show and figure it out because it's not giving anything, in my opinion. And then you look at people like the Scots as a whole, and they don't give anything. And then when there is something to talk about, they don't want to talk about it. So I'm just looking at the whole cast like this is a dud. This episode was a dud to me. The season has been a dud. I don't understand why there was a break. Just for us to come back and once again talk about the same shit that we've been talking about. So it's annoying. And Martell gives me the type of dude where if he slept with you, he would make it known that he slept with you. So I think that Trish definitely, something Melody said that was true. She definitely made this weird. She's the one that made this weird. And I feel like she might have made this weird to be relevant or because producers told her to. But at the end of the day, they got to end. And I don't give a damn. That's how I feel.
I agree with DM Rocks. It's time for Carlos to end this show. Yeah, Carlos, it's time for you to hang this one up. Focus on Family Empire Houston, which I can't wait till that show comes back. I keep saying that because I enjoy that show. Maybe that should be the franchise you invest more into. Invest more into, another family empire, another city. So, and make sure it's another historical Black family in real estate. We want to see it because at this point, this show is it's gone. Like, you can't revive this. It was fun while it lasted. You got 9 seasons out of it, but just go ahead and end it. We don't need it anymore. And while you at it, go ahead and end Love and Marriage Detroit because that doesn't give either. But that was Love and Marriage Huntsville, y'all. Just to say, hey, I know it was a struggle for me to get here, y'all, but I appreciate everybody that's been in the chat with me, that's been rocking with me. Make sure you guys like the video, comment, subscribe to both channels. I'm going to re-edit this and put this as best as information in my description box so that way you guys know to subscribe to her channel as well. But tomorrow we will be back on my channel for Married to Medicine and Real Housewives of Potomac. So we're going to go watch those episodes right now. I need to start a Patreon so y'all can watch it with me and we going to talk about this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to watch this episode tonight so we can be ready for y'all tomorrow night. And then Tuesday we'll be on Mrs. Best channel for Love and Hip Hop Miami. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate everyone. Mrs. Best, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. And I will see you guys on my next live. Until then, bye-bye now.